Hello, everyone. Hello, Nurses in Charge Global. Welcome to our first symposium of 2026. We have gone live on YouTube, LinkedIn, and Facebook. What a blessing to be here today. The Lord indeed has made a way for us to have this amazing event organized under a year. If it's not by the grace of God Almighty, I don't know who did it, but this entire team has been so much engaged into this process of bringing research findings right at the forefront of the World Wide Web. If anything, this is where we should be. This is where we should be showcasing our talents, our gifts, our expertise, the projects we have worked on so hard over, I would say so diligently over the years, so that people can see that nurses are not just at the bedside. Please mute yourself for now if you're not speaking. We're getting a feedback. The world needs to see that nurses and midwives are more than just IV starters, pill pushers, or sitting in their offices and handling day-to-day tasks. The world needs to see that we are taking on the banner of Florence Nightingale, the scientist, right? So we know that she brought on evidence-based practice. She brought on research into this amazing profession. And for this reason, we are continuing her legacy all through. This is 2026. Going back to Florence Nightingale's time, we have come a very long way. And Nurses in Charge Global has represented. We have had over, I would say we have had 10 nations participate in this research symposium. So we are so blessed. And with that said, let the show begin. Let the show begin. Welcome, welcome everyone. I want to give a quick shout out to all of our viewers out there in YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, the over 30 plus registrants for this program. I say thank you for your time. Thank you for taking out of your busy lives to be here. I will be uploading some presentations as we go along, so please bear with me. Here it goes. Here we are. It's such a wonderful day. Oh, Zuhal is in the back. I am so sorry, Zuhal. I went on talking and just realized that you were not out here with us. So welcome, welcome. Already. There is a feedback from someone. I don't know who. Will someone please I think everyone should mute themselves. Let's see from whom this could be coming from. Okay. Bear with me. I'm trying to open my. Yeah, do you hear that? Okay, perfect. It went away. How's everyone doing? Smile. We're doing great. Oh, dear. I know. I can smile and then the beauty of StreamYard is that I cannot see where the noise is coming from to mute that individual. So please have my apologies for that. Hmm. My internet connection is really slow, but it's coming through. Yeah. Okay. I just request that we all go mute. Let us all mute for now. Thank you. Okay. My. Just when you need something to work right, you get the challenges come true. Thank you for your time. Okay. I have to use another means because this one is not working for us to capture our presentation. Hmm. Okay. I truly apologize for the delay here. It's happening now. There we go. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I think we'll take a will be created here. With the fact that I'm struggling to upload a presentation, can everyone just take a moment to introduce themselves? We will get there. Thank you.
Hello, Dr. Nyempu, fellow panelists, to all those watching us from different parts of the world. I am Nisha Stanley, a nursing student at the University of Bamenda.
Hello, everyone. Welcome once more to this symposium. I am Zuhal Ervis, a nurse anesthetist and educator from Cameroon, Bamenda Northwest region.
Hello, everyone. Good morning. I am Dr. Elizabeth Ubochi. I am a professor, a business owner, nursing for success. .com is my website. Also been a critical care nurse for almost 20 years. I am happy to be here, and we are all glad to be presenting to you and reaching the world. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Sharon Birch. I live in the USA, and I am a public health nurse by training, and now I'm a nurse entrepreneur. And I'm looking forward to presenting today. Wish I could see you all, but I'm imagining you. And so, welcome.
Hello to everyone on the panel. Good afternoon. I am J. Holston Isho, a nursing student at the University of Bamenda. Thank you.
Hello everyone, I am Yahya Muhammad. I am from Sudan, third year nursing student at Al Zaim Al Azhar University. I'm also a co-founder at Sudanese Nursing Students Association. Today it is my honor and pleasure to be here in Nurses in Charge and in this symposium. So thank you so much.
To the participants that are here, the attendees, if you'd like to introduce yourself in the chat, you could tell your name and where you live and what kind of nursing you practice in the chat. I'm sure everyone would enjoy seeing who's here.
Thank you for that suggestion, Sharon. I am so focused on uploading our presentations that I'm not able to help on that part. Thank you so much. Alrighty, thank you everyone. Oh, here we go. Okay. This is not how it was planned. Thank you. Oh dear. Okay. Um,
I just want to say if we can share our own slide and presentation. We can share our own slide.
That's a great idea, Dr.
Yeah.
Ibochi.
Yes.
Since
I
I'm
have
having
my,
trouble with,
yes, I have my slide to share.
yes. Um, I do have the introductory presentation is what I am trying to upload. That is the struggle. Here we go. StreamYard is kicking me out each time, so that has been the situation. Can I get a consensus from everyone who has their own presentation and able to project it when it's time? We can work in the back end while someone is presenting as well. So with that said, I have made another, I would say, a
Dr. Nyempu,
yes.
There's a message from Sharon on the chat.
Okay, sure. That's another brilliant idea. Let's go on. We can present without the slides then, because it is taking so much time for StreamYard to project the slide that I have here for the intro. So let us absolutely. And one thing we will do after the presentation, after the symposium, we do have email addresses for those who registered. You will get the PDF copy of the presentations. Okay. So without further delay, let me go right into we put on our nurses cap and improvise and become creative when things don't work our way. All right. Visual would have been so superb because that's how it was meant to be. But here we are. Let me, if you can still hear me and see me, I will present from what I have here. Okay. So nurses in charge, who are we? First of all, my name is Dr. Nyempu. I am the founder of Nurses in Charge Global, and it is my profound pleasure to be here today. Nurses in Charge, for short, we are called NIC. We are a faith-based nonprofit organization founded in the United States back in 2022, and we are going on to the entire process started in 2021. So we count all of that. We are 5 years old this year. This is amazing. We have reached out to now having members in 23 nations, and it is an amazing journey. So with this said, we have come this far to start our first symposium. Our mission is to connect, celebrate, and empower nurses and midwives globally, advancing education, research, and leadership. As you can see, we are on the research, the research arm of this organization. Through connection, through connection, celebration, and empowerment, our vision is to empower global generation of nurses and midwives who lead healthcare with purpose, compassion, faith, and excellence. Here's a brief introduction for the global survey that was conducted early this year with all the members of Nurses in Charge who participated. We have had the participation of 8 nations that came through with a survey that was conducted. So from training to practice is the theme of this year's symposium. We have explored the educational preparation and transitional experiences of nurses and midwives from multiple countries across Africa, Europe, and North America. Our participants share their motivation for entering the profession, training experiences, mentorship exposure, the challenges faced when transitioning into practice. The key findings revealed common global concerns, including gaps between theory and practice, limited resources, workplace challenges, and the need for stronger mentorship, simulation-based learning, and professional development opportunities. Overall, the survey highlights the importance of strengthening nursing and midwifery education systems to better prepare healthcare professionals, and that being nurses and midwives, for safe, confident, and sustainable practice worldwide. Oh, something happened. I cannot see. Were you hearing me? I want to make sure of that. I feel like I am in. Without the visual, I'm thrown off completely.
Dr. Nyempu, we can hear you, and I just wanted to double check that you started the recording also.
Yes, we are live streaming. We have been live streaming. And it's unfortunate that our members out there cannot see what we intended for them to see today. Okay. For a moment, I stopped so I can catch up with you guys. I'm going to go back to the presentation. Thank you. Alrighty. So these are the participants that we had that accepted to present their surveys to us. We want to say thank you to Cameroon. In Cameroon, we have Mr. Suvian Elvis and Yensha Stanley Bunkim. In Ghana, we have Clement Opong. In Italy, we have Dina Paoloni. India, we have Krishna Beni. Liberia, we have Boakai Kindly, Cecilia Pangala Flobo, Clinton Zianto, Valerie Dencia. In Kenya, we have Leonard Otiano and Marjorie Akenvi. In the Netherlands, we have Carla Johansen Van Rosendale. In Nigeria, we have Dr. Elizabeth Ibochi. And in the United States, we have Wendy Kemu and Dr. Nyempu Karmue-Hall. This is from the survey that was conducted from the nations. Okay, survey findings. When participants were asked, what is your country of birth? We have 17 responses that came true. And 35% of the participants came from Liberia. 11% came from Cameroon. 5% responded from Ghana, as you saw the names that are called. India is 5% as well. Italy is 5%. Kenya, 17%. The Netherlands, 5%. Nigeria, 5%. And basically that's that. So all of these 17 responses, they were asked, what is your country of practice? So now we're looking at migration from area of training into where individual professionals are practicing currently. Currently, we still see 23% who responded from Liberia are still practicing in Liberia. Kenya, we still have 17%, that did not change. Cameroon, 11%, that too did not change. The area of migration where we see more changes here are the United Kingdom. A participant that was trained in Italy now practices in the United Kingdom, and 11% of our participants have migrated from Africa to the United States. Migration has become a place of focus over the past year. Our participants, 17 responses as well. Their roles ranges from being registered nurses, doctoral practice nurses, in other words, advanced practice nurses, registered nurses, students of nursing practice. 82% of our responders are in the nursing profession. 17% of our responders are both, they have a dual degree in both nursing and midwifery. Level of training completed. Diploma nursing, that was 29%. Associate degree nursing, 5%, 5.9%. A bachelor's degree nursing, 35%. Master's degree nursing, 35% as well. Doctoral degree nursing, 17%. Education structure, total duration of training program, we have from 2 to 3 years. 23% of our participants have had 2 to 3 years of training. 4 years training were 47%, and greater than 4 years training were 41%. Hours of training completion, didactic classroom training completion, we have 500 to 1,000 hours didactic training for the associate degree nursing and midwifery training, 1,000 to 2,000 hours for bachelor's degree, and over 2,000 hours for the doctoral prepared nursing degree training. So as you can see, we do have more and more hours extended as the education expands. So here we are with clinical practice hours. Again, 500 to 1,000 hours in clinical settings for the associate to BSN bachelor's degree trained nursing and midwifery, and then over 1,000 hours for the doctoral degree training for nursing specifically. Simulation training was another area of our inquiry. So simulation training, we have participants, 94% of our participants said yes, they have had simulation nursing training and midwifery training at that rate. It was 5%, which equates to one responder did not receive simulation training. So if you can notice, we are definitely identifying gaps within our preparation for professional roles here. So the question goes, if you received simulation training, what was the type of simulation training you received? We have low fidelity, meaning task, training, basic mannequin. At the sites, we have 70% of our responders receive a low fidelity simulation training. Now for high fidelity simulation training, this is the advanced mannequins that are almost human-like, not human, never will be human, but they have a lot of functionality similar to our human population. This is the high fidelity. About 41.2% of our responders have received the simulation training based with a high fidelity mannequin. The virtual simulation, 23% of our participants received that during their progression in academia. Standardized practice, 64% of our responders receive standardized, not practice, patients. So they had the opportunity to care for patients at the bedside, 64%. So that is pretty high. Now, for the hours of training for simulation ranges from 50 hours to 100 hours. And 23% of our participants had 50 hours of simulation training sections, and 100 hours, 29% of our participants received 100 hours of simulation training. And over 100 hours, we have 41% of our nursing professionals. Transition to practice. Did you feel adequately prepared for clinical practice upon graduation? 82% of the responders said yes, and somewhat prepared, we have 17%. If any of these apply to you, please put that in the comments. Let us know what type of training you received. What was it? Was it simulation-based and clinical and didactic? Make that known to us in the comment section. Did your country require a licensing examination before practice? 88% of our responders said yes. 2 of our responders said no, which equated to 11%. Okay, did you complete a transition to practice program, such as an internship or residency program? 64% of our responders said yes, 35% said no. And then what year did you graduate with your nursing or midwifery degree? We are ranging from 1982 to 2026. So you can see over a span of what, 40 years, of professionals who have been trained within NIC Global from 1982 to 2026. So we have some recent graduates that have joined this organization. And as you know, we bridge the gap between the novice and the expert nurses and midwives. So this really falls into that area of mentorship. Did you have a mentor? Speaking of that, 64% of our respondents said yes, and 35% of our respondents said no. If that resonates with you as we go along with this presentation, you will see why mentorship is vital, is a critical part of our professional grooming. Are you a mentor to other nurses or midwives? We have 100% of our respondents say yes. That is amazing. I love that so very much. All right, ladies and gentlemen, few of the challenges that were presented by our respondents said that getting ready for practice were challenges, and transitioning from theory into practice was a challenge as well. And what are some of the improvements that we need to make? Respondents said that we should make improvement in the areas of ready to practice mentorship and professional networking engagements. And there's a list of feedback for our improvement that needs to be made in nursing and midwifery training, from training to practice. So as I mentioned, a PDF copy of our research finding will be sent out to all participants of this symposium. So I am going to leave that now, and then we can continue our program. Thank you, everyone, so much for your time. Thank you for listening in. We have experienced some major challenges getting started today, but here we are back on board. So with the order of the program, we will now have Zuhal. I see some people are...
Dr. Nyempu, please, can you let Zuhal in? She's in the waiting room.
Okay, there are many of our panelists who are in the waiting area. Forgive me for not bringing you out here. I was busy presenting.
Okay.
Thank
Can
you,
you share
everyone.
the presentation for Nyempu?
Repeat that, please, Zuhal.
Can you share the presentation for me?
I have experienced issues with doing that. So
okay,
while I try to pull that up, we can have who is ready to go with their presentation. I will just go that route while I pull your presentation up. So we will be reshuffling here, in other words, for those who cannot present.
Let me share my presentation then.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Sorry for assuming that you couldn't present from your end. Thank you to everyone who has joined us in LinkedIn, Facebook, and in Yahoo, not Yahoo, in LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube. I see a lot of questions, a lot of comments.
Somebody introduced themselves on the chat. I invited her.
Perfect.
Madam Ezioma Acholono.
Okay.
Zuhal, thank you, Dr. Iboti, for inviting Dr. Ngozi and then the other professional that you just mentioned. Okay.
Okay.
Doing good, Zuhal. How's that going?
Okay. Can you see the presentation right now?
Let me. No, we cannot see it yet. Let me see. Okay, you may want to refresh
Okay.
it.
Can you see it now?
No, I cannot. Can anyone else see it? No.
I'm sure it right now.
Let me see. I don't. It hasn't populated. And by the way, while I was doing my presentation, it finally came on stage, but you guys weren't able to see that for the delay we experienced earlier. Zuhal, I'm looking for your presentation. I don't see it showing from my view.
Let me try sharing, and it might be a technical issue. See if mine will show.
There it is. There's a major delay, but it's coming now. So I believe everyone should start uploading their presentations, because that delay, that gap, it matters when you're waiting for it to show. Zuhal, your presentation should be projecting now.
Okay, so let me cancel.
Okay. Can you see it right now? Share it.
I just saw your presentation. Um, it will lose your presentation. It will just upload. Refresh again.
I think it is a technical issue. I don't know what is the problem,
Yeah,
but I can share it. It is clear right now for me.
it is the technical issues coming from StreamYard, because
I
it
think that.
came back.
Let
Refresh
me
again.
let me share mine to let's see if it will show. Let's
Oh,
share mine. Let's see. Um, Hold on 1 second.
Okay. Can you see it right now? I think Dr.
Okay, here it is.
Excuse, please, can everyone, if you're not presenting, you can mute your mic, please.
So to hold your presentation. It just tried coming through, but then it went out. Meanwhile, Dr. Yubotu, are you able to project yours? I think it's
All right, let me share mine. See.
okay.
Are you able to see my presentation?
I think Dr. Nyempu must give us the access to share our screen.
Are you able to see mine?
Yours is coming through.
Yeah. It is clear right now.
You see mine?
Yours is out, yeah.
Okay. So
Yeah.
I will go ahead. I'll go ahead and present.
Sure.
Okay.
Once again, good morning. My name is Dr. Elizabeth Ubochi. I am a nurse educator for over 10 years of teaching experience and nearly 20 years in clinical practice. I currently serve as faculty at Kaiser University and the founder of Nursing for Success, where I focus mostly on clinical judgment development, NCLEX preparation, supporting students through this transition into practice. Over the years, I've observed many first semester students struggle with, confidence, clinical reasoning, and the transition from classroom to learning in clinical practice as well. So these early challenges often shape their long-term performance. In the beginning, as a first semester student, they struggle to comprehend the critical thinking process, navigating between didactic classroom, lab, and of course, going into the clinical environment to implement learned skills. So in response to this, I developed a structured peer mentorship model grounded in Bernard's novice to expert theory and Tanner's clinical judgment model. This goal was to strengthen early support and reduce anxiety and to improve clinical readiness for students. So what is peer mentorship? After identifying the need for stronger early support, I developed a peer mentorship model. This model is to structure relationship between experienced and novice nursing students, provide academic, emotional, and clinical support during the transition to practice, encourage collaboration, confidence building, and reflective learning. Also fostering or foster growth through shared experience and guided feedback. This enables to promote student professional identity and readiness for clinical judgment. Why is this approach important? This approach is not only strengthens the student, is important because it creates collaboration between the first semester student and the second semester student to enable them identify area of need as they get the support that they receive the support from their peers. Why I developed this mentorship program? The reason I developed it because I began to identify early clinical challenges among the first semester students as the course coordinator for first semester students. I observed the gaps in confidence, especially when, preparing them to go out there in the clinical field. I see this fear. They become skeptical. They question the reason why they are in nursing school, if they made the right decision. So I observed the gaps in confidence, in clinical reasoning, and in transition readiness. This led to developing a structured peer mentorship model, and of course, grounded in Bernard's novice to expert theories and Turner clinical judgment. So, like as I mentioned earlier, as a fundamental, which is a core foundation, the first semester, walking into this program, walking into nursing program as a professor, noticing that fear, that struggle, and the lack of confidence, the doubts they show, led to me coming up with the program to enable them transit smoothly. So why mentorship matters? It strengthens confidence and reduces anxiety in clinical experience, it enhances clinical judgment through guided practice, support academic success, and of course retention. You see most time as they get into the first week, second and third week, fourth week, going close to the final semester, week 16, before even week 16, they ask if they need to even be there. Some of them want to withdraw. They ask questions as to maybe this is not for me, or they say stuff like that. So the mentorship matters because it provides them with the support to enable them achieve that academic success and promotes retention. It builds a sense of belonging, connection, and professional identity, and of course, encourages resilience and accountability and growth among peers. So transition challenges in nursing education. Of course, many nursing students experience are overwhelmed. There's a lot of challenges as they go from transitioning into the nursing education. They often struggle to connect theory to practice. They are theory oriented but not application. They find it difficult to connect both, that what you're learning is what you have to apply, but you're understanding the theory is not definition wise. It's understanding to be able to apply the knowledge in the clinical environment. So early anxiety can negatively affect long-term success. So mentorship helps mitigate these challenges by providing structured peer-based support. That's exactly why my mentorship is so valuable. My mentorship program is so valuable because it provides them the support from early on. From early on in the first semester, first, second, or third week, we begin to enroll students with that who are showing doubts, who are struggling with the first exam or first quizzes, providing them with that support to enable them excel smoothly from week to week as they transit from one semester to another. So having peer mentorship helps students feel supported and not just alone. They ask questions, they more freely to adapt smoothly to the clinical environment and build confidence through shared experience. So what's the benefit? Benefit of peer mentorship? As I mentioned, academically reinforce concept, support clinical reasoning, promote active learning. Emotionally, it reduces stress, builds belonging, and strengthens confidence. What about clinically? It improves communication, enhance critical thinking, and provides support that enables them identify the need to ensure that patient is safe. So gives them the critical thinking, or helps them build the critical thinking process to promote safe patient care. Why did I choose Bernard's novice to theory? Because it shows the transition. You can see how a person will go from being a novice to expert, First semester, learning to navigate the system, trying to find a bearing, and as you see, they progress as the week goes by. So this theory explains how nurses develop clinical knowledge, skills gradually over time. And according to Bernard, nursing students begin at the novice level where they depend heavily on rules, instruction, guidance, because they have limited clinical experience. And as students gain exposure and confidence and support, they progress to the advanced beginner stage where they start recognizing patterns and applying knowledge and more independently. So with continued learning and the support from peers and of course the mentorship program, students can progress through these different stages from, of course, being from novice to competent, proficient, and eventually becoming expert in their clinical setting. I also incorporated Tanner's model because both of them have to go together. You have the advancement from novice to becoming expert, but you also have to introduce the Banner's model, which helps them to think like a nurse. I will use think like a nurse. The clinical judgment and the clinical critical aspect of reasoning becomes part of the mentorship guidance or program, able to encourage them, teach them, show them, walk them through how to notice, identify problem with patients as they are in the clinical setting, interpret data as when in the clinical environment, practicing that in lab, responding and reflecting on what they've seen, what they've noticed, and how to apply critical thinking knowledge in managing patient care. So I've seen how mentorship strengthens each of these steps by giving students guided opportunity to think through patient situation and reflect on their decision. In this program, mentors help students recognize important cues, prioritize intervention, make sound clinical judgment. So it's not just about teaching skills, it's also about helping students build confidence in their thinking and decision-making process. Through this guided conversation and reflection, students begin to think like a nurse, not just nursing students. They experience support, or they are supported in development of clinical thinking, early clinical judgment skills during transition into the nursing practice. So mentorship model and program, what do we do? How do we initiate this process? Practice-based mentorship case studies. Of course, Kaiser University is where I work, and that's where I initiated this program, and it's been going on for almost 5 years. The participants are first semester, second semester, and third semester nursing students. The reason I do not involve the fourth semester because they're preparing for graduation, they're practicum, they're out more in the field. So we start with the second semester mentoring the first semester, and then the third semester mentors the second semester. So we have the hierarchy, more like the hierarchy of needs. So you follow the most important, and they move up as they advance. Duration is mostly per semester. We initiate this per semester and then evaluate and then move on to the next semester. The program has been in place for almost 5 years, allow longitudinal observation across multiple cohorts. Mentorship itself occurs every semester, as mentioned. The nurse structure enables ongoing refinement and evaluation of model over time. And of course, course average, exam and engagement indicators, participations, trend. This is how we collect the data. And of course, before it starts, they have to sign a contract. And of course, we monitor the time they meet, they give us feedback, we look at the average grade, and of course, exam quizzes. Before you even sign up to be a mentor, we must ensure your class average way above average. You don't spend time mentoring a mentee and your work is affected, your class work becomes is affected in the process. So what is the methodology? Like as mentioned, the duration, the mentorship program has been in place for nearly 5 years, allowing longitudinal evaluation across multiple cohorts, mentors activities, of course, each semester with new mentor and mentee peers every term. Mentors receive volunteer hours credit for their participation. So the mentors are awarded for their participation because it's a time they spend, they volunteer their time to do this for their mentee. So they get 4 hours of credit. They also get an award of appreciation during their pinning ceremony. Data are collected through, of course, course averages, exam performance, engagement indicators, and of course, informed student feedback. So we do get feedback from the mentee and the mentors. So I developed this mentorship program almost 5 years ago, and each year brings a new insight from pilot testing to full integration. The 5th year, we have strong evidence of sustained impact on student performance and retention. So outcome and observed benefit: increased engagement and participation. I have observed increased engagement and participation. Students have reported and given us a positive feedback from data collected. Faculty feedback have brought in suggestions, ways to navigate or improve the system over time. Consistent improvement among students participated in the mentorship program. They became more engaged, and they come back to become mentors. The mentees come back and become mentors themselves to the first semester or the semester before them students. So faculty feedback echoes these results. Students transitioned into clinical environment more smoothly and showed greater readiness for patient care. It's been rewarding to see how structured peer support can truly change the way students learn. Peer support. So the foundation, the key to this is the peer support. They are able to speak freely with their peers. It's not more. Yes, as professors, instructors, nurse educators, we are always there. We want to encourage, we teach, we explain. Hearing it firsthand from their peers, how they were able to navigate. We were once in that situation first semester, now in second semester. It enables them build that confidence and realize that, yes, I believe they say to themselves they can do it. So it's been rewarding to see how structured peer support can truly change the way students learn, think, and perform in a clinical setting. So what about the growth? Of course, mentee progressing into mentor roles, that's an awesome process. Development of peer leadership capacity, creation of sustainable cycle of support. So this is the growth I have seen in the last few years, and it's been a very successful project. One of the most rewarding part of it, as I mentioned, is seeing the mentees coming back themselves to become mentors. Very, very interesting. Workforce and educational impact: enhance retention, of course. Mentorship support retention, strengthen resilience. Mentorship contribute to retention, smoother transition into practice, improve readiness. When students feel supported and confident, they're more likely to stay in the program, and of course they're most likely to succeed. Ultimately, mentors foster positive learning culture, one that prepares nurses not only for practice but for leadership and lifelong growth. And we've talked about culture as well because of the need to involve the cultural aspect of nursing into patient care and management. Recommendation for nursing program: I would recommend implement structure early at first semester, align with Brenner and Turner framework, provide faculty oversight for accountability and consistency, train mentors in leadership, communication, and coaching, monitor outcome, and of course, adapt model to local resources. Is scalable and low cost, so this can be adopted everywhere globally. So how do we evaluate our success or process. Mentee to mentee application, they must sign it, weekly meeting. The application has the package, it has the time, the schedule where you have to document where you met, what you talked about, area of that you meant the mentee is struggling. This also helps the professor as well to be part of the process in ensuring that the student also is receiving the information as needed or as she should be provided to him or her in the classroom. Evaluation, class average comparison before and continuously during the process, participant strengths, engagement during mentoring, observe clinical confidence, and of course, weekly or bi-weekly meeting with the mentee and mentors. Academic performance is one of the way we discuss to see, they ensure that the mentee or mentors especially is not affected academically while spending time to help tutor the mentee. Study strategies and of course, transition challenges. So what is the importance of this globally? Global relevance and application of peer mentors. Low cost, scalable. This can be adopted or any country, any nursing school, adaptable across countries, diverse educational system, effective in resources, limited environment. So this model is low cost, is scalable. Peer mentorship has relevance beyond single nursing program or institution. One of the strengths of this model is that it's both low cost, cost effective, and scalable because the program relies on structure. It's peer support structure, faculty oversight, peer support. It can be adapted across different nursing program, healthcare system, and educational setting. So it's a low-cost process. The mentorship process promotes collaboration, engagement, confidence, student support, and regardless of geographical location. This approach may be especially beneficial in resource-limited environments where academic support is mostly more academic support is needed. So this is my model, structured peer mentorship nursing. I came up with this model. This is my passion, and I'm so happy to be presenting this to the world. It's a conceptual framework for supporting student transition to clinical readiness. So the problem identification. So problem identification, the challenges the student face early in clinicals, like low confidence, limited judgment. Then I moved down to program design, introduce structured peer-led approach where senior student mentor junior through regular meetings and guided feedback. The mentorship activities focus on concept clarification, clinical discussion, NCLEX preparation, emotional support, all essential for building confidence and professional identity. And then the model is grounded in Berners novice to expert theories and Tanner's clinical judgment model, with these two together, it guides the student progression from novice to advanced beginner and strengthen clinical reasoning on the first critical thinking and clinical judgment. The key outcome is to improve confidence, academic performance, engagement, leading to measurable clinical workforce impact, including safer patient care outcome and smoother transition into practice. And finally, the global implementation, like I mentioned earlier. This shows how the model can be adapted, is scalable, is low cost, and it goes across culture. It breaks the cultural barrier because, in the process, students begin to learn about each other's different culture as they mentor and mentee to come together, so mentoring. So it's a very beneficial to both everyone across the board, and of course ensuring that patient safety is the key behind the center of the whole process, the key process, the need to ensure patient safety in clinical environment. So what of executive summary? When I created this mentorship program almost 5 years ago, I wanted to give first semester students the kind of support I knew they needed early. I did not get that support when I was in nursing school. I struggled, I studied, there was no mentor. But seeing it as a professor, teaching fundamental, being the professor for almost 10 years, I see the first-hand need and the benefit of peer mentorship. And of course, semester to semester, the result has been consistent, incredible, and encouraging. Students who come in anxious started gaining confidence, their communication improved, their engagement increased, and their clinical reasoning became stronger. And one of the most rewarding outcome for me has been watching students who were failing turn around and start passing after joining the mentorship program. This model works because it's simple, it's built, it's simple, it's structured, delivered every semester. It builds leadership, strengthens the learning culture, and low cost, and of course adaptable anywhere. And of course the impact has been positive across the cohort. So in conclusion, early mentorship improve confidence, clinical reasoning, and transition readiness, strengthen resilience, and support safer patient care, contributes to developing competent, confident future nurses. So I will encourage globally for it to be adopted, and of course it promotes positive patient care outcome. So when students receive support early, they develop resilience, they develop critical thinking aspect of nursing, they need it, and of course clinical judgment, clinical reasoning, clinical judgment, and of course they're able to mentee becoming mentors, and the cycle continues. So in the end, mentorship helps shape competent, confident nurses who are ready to lead, grow in their profession. So thank you for your attention. Thank you for your attention. I welcome your question. I look forward to discussing how mentorship can strengthen nursing education globally. Thank you very much. God bless.
Thank you, Dr. Ibochi. We appreciate you. Thank you for taking out time to be here today. Thank you for putting so much work into this research endeavor to the point where it is impacting future nursing professionals right in your environment at Kaiser University. And now we are showcasing you for a global reach, because we know mentorship is the strength for future professionals. So we appreciate you, and I see a lot of comments out there applauding you for your work and your endeavor with this project. We appreciate you again. We started on a rough start, on a rough path, but here we are. You have done your presentation, and we will now want to see who is prepared to do theirs next. I see a comment here.
Can I go ahead, or do I want to present?
Zuhal, are you able to upload now? I know you attempted earlier, it was coming through. While Zuhal is setting up, I see her presentation is showing some signs of hope. It just came through, then it popped out. I believe, depending on where you are located, we're having these issues here. All right. So we'll keep working on your presentation, your projection. So, Mr. Elvis, you want to go next?
Yes, let me try to share my presentation. If it's going.
While Mr. Elvis is setting up, I will. This was meant to be said about Dr. Ubochi before she presented. So Dr. Elizabeth Ubochi, DNP, MSN, educator, RN. She is the founder of Nursing for Success. Dr. Ubochi is a nurse educator within the 10 years. She mentioned that in her presentation. With two decades of nursing practice, she is a certified. Sorry for the glitches. She is a nursing education and certification certified professional who does NCLEX preparation and innovative teaching strategies to support student success. Her project is bridging the gap from education to practice, the role of peer mentorship in developing clinical readiness in nursing. Mr. Elvis, Mr. Subian Elvis, I will try your first name, but I know I will butcher it, which will not do you any good. It won't be proper. So Mr. Elvis is a dedicated professional nurse anesthetist at the, I'm getting a feedback, sorry. All right, I resume. He is a nurse anesthetist and a leader at the Bamenda University in Cameroon, a PhD candidate at the University of Pretoria, he is currently based in Cameroon. His work is focused on pediatric sepsis, healthcare quality improvement, clinical education, and nursing leadership. He actively contributes to research, mentorship, and global healthcare initiatives. Mr. Elvis' presentation is Training the Future Nurse, Experiences, Challenges, and Opportunities in Cameroon. Thank you.
Please, can you see my presentation?
Let me, yes.
So Dr. Nyempu, you let me know if I can go ahead, please. Can you see my presentation?
Yes.
We're finally operating there.
Okay. So once more, thank you, everyone. Thank you for this opportunity, Nurses in Charge. It's a pleasure to share with each and everyone the experiences, the challenges and opportunities in Cameroon when it comes to the future of nursing. Having been trained since 2010, having practice in a critical care environment and switch to the educator role in Cameroon, it's been a privilege to experience the ups and the downs of nursing in Cameroon. And this day, I'm going to share with the NIC community how nursing, what we have as nursing in Cameroon, and how we can make it better for a better nursing care in Cameroon. So we're going to have the experiences in nursing education, the challenges, the opportunities. We share a reflective case example, implications for practice, education, and policy, and then we'll conclude for the day. So what is the challenge of nursing education in Cameroon? We all know that the demand for skilled nurses keeps on increasing. Why is it increasing? We have a rise in non-communicable as well as infectious diseases, most so in less developed or less constrained settings like Central Africa and Cameroon. But we also know that nurses are key stakeholders in care delivery. They make up the majority of healthcare professionals in nearly all of our settings. One of the key things about nursing is that we have different pathways in education. And these pathways sometimes they helping to increase the quality and the quantity of the nurses we have also pose a lot of challenges. In Cameroon, we have 3 pathways to nursing education, where we have what we call the Higher National Diploma, which is run by the Ministry of Higher Education. We have state registered nurses run by the Ministry of Public Health. We have direct entry into the Bachelor of Nursing Sciences. What are some the experiences in nursing education? Having looked at the different levels of entry points to nursing, we have the state registered nursing. We have the which is being run by the Ministry of Public Health, and here there is an entrance examination to qualify to start this training program, as compared to the Higher National Diploma, which we don't have any entrance examination to qualify to be trained as a nurse. This also poses challenges. We also have different curriculum. In the public health sector, the curriculum is focused on skill, on practicals, while in the Ministry of Higher Education, the curriculum is focused on theory. In terms of skill labs, since we have variations in training institutions that are run by the Ministry of Public Health, institutions that are run by the Ministry of Higher Education, and sometimes even institutions that are run by the Ministry of Vocational Education. So there are a lot of variations in terms of skill labs. Sometimes the skill labs are there just by being there and not actually being practical. In terms of clinical exposure, the Cameroonian system is in such a way that schools are set up, and most of the schools are not attached to clinical settings. Most of the schools do not have practicing hospitals. So much so that most of the students are placed for clinical exposure in either public or private run hospitals. In terms of supervision and mentorship, I am happy with the presentation of Dr. Obochi, which highlighted the key role of mentorship in ensuring ready nurses in the field. In terms of supervision, we have supervision that is both most at times clinical. Academic supervision is lacking, and pedagogically speaking, the training of nurses and midwives in Cameroon is still somehow passive in terms of learning and passive in terms of teacher engagement. What are some of the challenges we have in training the future nurse in Cameroon? As highlighted, there are limited simulation laboratories. Sometimes, as I said earlier, these laboratories are just there to sometimes satisfy the ministries that the training institution actually has a laboratory. And we have so many experiences in terms of or challenges in training nurses in Cameroon. I don't know if you can get me, but it's actually raining here. It's heavy, it's pouring here. But just let me know if you can still get me, please.
Yes, we can.
Okay, thank you. And then one of the key challenges we encounter here in Cameroon is the inadequacy in teaching and learning resources. As I said, resources stems from human resources to material resources. We have a lot of gaps in terms of human resources, so much so that you have a graduate today with a BSc in nursing who turns to be educator the following year without any pedagogical training, no clinical exposure, and without any experience in training. And this leads to preparing nurses that we have the quantity, but the quality is lacking. In terms of clinical sites, there's a lot of overcrowdedness, so much so that sometimes you have so many students with less patients. Imagine having 150 students in a hospital with averagely maybe 40 patients. Means we sometimes we are unable to even follow up students because there are so many. This is also a huge challenge, especially when it comes to conflict areas like the northwest region of Cameroon, where most students now are overcrowded in cities. In terms of limited mentorship capacity, it's a pleasure to listen to you once more, Dr. Obochi. But I can attest to you that, as you rightly said, we can easily contextualize the mentorship framework, but we also have to take into consideration the different contexts in terms of the resources that we have in place. I am happy you mentioned that. So mentorship capacity is one of the issues that is really lacking, and it is actually fundamental to the level of preparedness we have in nursing. We also have issues with curriculum alignment with practice realities. I can imagine a situation where we have sometimes we have course plans that are just copied and pasted, not actually adjusted to the realities of in ground. And this leads to a case where theory is just given without actually contextualizing the theory. So aligning the curriculum with the practice realities on ground is vital in preparing nurses. Accreditation and standardization issues are one of the key issues that we have, and I can tell you the audience that we lack this in Cameroon. Anybody can get up and register for an institution, a training institution, without sufficient resources to run these institutions. What are the standards in terms of human resource and material resources? They are lacking. There's actually a weak linkage in training institution and service delivery. I think most of the training institutions worldwide, they actually try to match up with the needs of the population. But I can tell you that one of the key issues that we have in Cameroon is the fact that training institutions, they are for business purposes. They are not there to aligning with the needs of the population, the demands of healthcare. And that's why if I have to start training people today, I actually do not care about the demands of healthcare tomorrow. I actually do not care about the needs in healthcare. I actually do not care about the outcomes of those we have to take care of. And this actually create a huge gap in what we train and what is given to our patients. Despite the challenges, we still have so many opportunities to make nursing a better profession, to train nurses that we hope we align with the demands of healthcare and the demands of our patients. And one of the key issues that I identified with the presentation, the preceded presentation, is that we need competency-based education. We need to train nurses who master specific measurable clinical skills and behaviors rather than spending time in class or time spent in class. I think this is one of the key issues that we have and we can adjust to. Additionally, incorporating soft skills into the training curriculum prepare nurses with not just the technical know-how, but nurses who can add humanity into caring. And with these soft skills, we can have nurses that are ready for the workforce. In terms of problem, we also need to approach training in terms of problem-based and case-based learning. We need to promote active student-centered learning. For my time being as a student and a clinician, and now as an educator, I think the training that we have in place is still, as I mentioned earlier, so passive that sometimes even in class you notice that students are not actually engaged in the learning process. Even in the clinical environment, it's a challenge to have students align themselves, actively engage themselves in the learning process. You find yourself having to push students because there is no formal approach to engaging students into learning. You mentioned earlier the experience I had while being trained as a student nurse was that of being mentored, though informally. I was being mentored by my senior colleagues, means that those we entered in year 1 and found them in year 2, they helped us transition from novice to advanced beginners, and we could easily adjust to the demands of the field. But these days, we do not have that in the field. You have level 1 students who engage differently. You have level 2 students who engage separately. And sometimes, because of this segregation, it's difficult for senior colleagues in terms of students to mentor the junior ones. So we need to approach learning in this way. Low-cost simulation is something that we need to look at. I think in advanced settings, simulation is incorporated into our training programs. But in low settings, we will lack the simulation approach. But I think adjusting to resources that do not cost much, we can actually improve based on those approaches. We can create realistic and long-lasting case scenarios that can help us adjust to that. Strengthening hospital and school relationship is one of the things that we actually need. Sometimes you have students come to the hospital without the students even understanding the objectives of their internship. Imagine students coming to a clinical environment and they don't know their objectives. They don't know the objectives for their internship. So this creates a big gap. Trying as a clinician to help these students, because you you find yourself in the midst of not knowing what to give them because they don't understand the objectives of their internship. Somehow we need to have a structured mentorship program. I agree that mentorship sometimes goes informally, but as you said, theoretical foundations to mentorship, as your mentorship framework actually says, is really important because we can easily successfully run the mentorship program. But a mentorship that is fragmented, that is not built on theory, that has no structure, is difficult to succeed with. So having a structured mentorship programs, I'm happy that your framework is easily adaptable to other settings, and this is something that we can explore in future, and we can start that from today to explore to see how we can adjust your framework to other settings, despite the challenges we have on ground. Training nurses and as leaders and educators is something that I find easy for us to do. I once read the historical events that led to that shaped the nursing in America, and I was happy to see that there were drastic changes that led to what nursing is in the Western world now. And somehow we also need those drastic changes in our context. We need to train nurses as leaders. We need to train nurses as educators. Encouraging research and quality improvement approaches in our training curriculum is one of the key issues. We can't somehow take decisions based on most of the reports that we have, research reports, because somehow you find out that they are not credible. But we can encourage this because by ensuring we have organizations like Nurses in Charge that are spearheading research programs, spearheading mentorship programs, and this is something that we need to align with. I am happy we are talking today of postgraduate programs, and we need to also have systems that support postgraduate education, because with this we hope to have a better future with nurses who are up for the task. I'm going to have a small reflection, which I think can help us to look at where we are and where we want to go to. I think around the mid 2000s, when we were trained as nurses, we used to, when HIV was still an issue in our settings, we used to take care of patients, and sometimes you take care of a patient and patient dies while being happy. Why? Because you could meet the needs of this patient as a holistic being, as a human being, not because we had so much of technical skills, but because you could give a patient a mouthwash, you could give a patient a bed bath, you could help a patient to relate with the family members, and they were happy. But nowadays, I had an experience in the world sometimes where nurses asked if they were going to add to build a patient more, because they were asked to give a bed bath to a patient who was bedridden. And I was astonished, I was surprised, and I asked the question, what then defines nursing activities? What defines nursing to us? What do we do to the patients that define nursing? What do we have in us that tell people what nursing is all about? What do we do to people to demonstrate that we are nurses? This is something that I don't know. We should have moved with the advancement in technology and the complex nature of diseases. We need to move from this type of mindset and have nurses who are prepared and ready to add the technical skills they have, to add the humanistic part of care to the technical skills that we have. There are a lot of implications to what we've discussed this afternoon. We need to reform the curriculum. We need to have a structured mentorship in terms of education. We need to develop our faculty, and continuous professional programs are an essential part of faculty development. We need clinical leaders that are supportive of the learning environment. We need policymakers that can invest in nursing education and regulation. And we need partners like nurses in charge, partners like individuals who can help us to shape the future of nursing that we all aim for. I'm going to end my presentation by concluding that we need context-sensitive education. We have, despite the challenges, there are enormous opportunities to make nursing a better place. If we invest in nursing education, we invest in health system resilience, and this is something that we need to aim for. And I will end by saying that we need to prepare graduates not only to survive, but to lead within the health system. Once more, thank you all for listening, and thank you for your time.
Awesome, awesome, awesome. Thank you so much, Mr. Elvis. I truly see how God has orchestrated this day. It is definitely flowing in the direction it should go into. And I thank you so much for your work. This is definitely heart touching, because who are we preparing to take care of the next patient and the next patient, and human lives are at stake. So thank you so much for that in-depth presentation, showing us what our challenges are, what we're doing best, and where we need to improve. Ladies and gentlemen, feel free to put your comments into the comment sections, not in the private chat rooms, unless it's something that you want us to take care of behind stage. But until then, employ our presenters in the social media handles that we have connected with. We do have Facebook, LinkedIn, and YouTube engaged, and I love it. And glory, hallelujah. Thank you, Jesus. We do have Zuhal's presentation ready to roll out. Until then, let me tell you who Zuhal is. It is just such a pleasure to be able to tell you about our presenters. Let me see, I do have that ready to talk about who Zuhal is. Thank you, thank you, thank you, everyone. It has been a morning, it has been a day, and we are thriving. Zuhal Yahya, nursing student at Al-Zayam Al-Ahari University in Egypt. Thank you. Zuhal is a Sudanese nursing student currently based in Egypt and a representative of the Sudanese Nursing Student Association, NSA. She is a nurse. She is a student leader with strong interest in nursing leadership, nursing education, research, and global health. Zuhal is actively engaged in activities that empower nursing students and amplify their voices, particularly in conflicted in challenging and conflict-affected settings. Her presentation title is Strengthening Nursing Education and Leadership in Sudan, bridging the transition from training to practice. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Zuhal Yahya. You are muted, Zuhal.
Okay. First of all, hello everyone. I would like to sincerely thank the nurses in charge team and Dr. Nyempu for this valuable opportunity and for organizing such an inspiring global symposium. It is truly an honor for me to be here today among distinguished professionals, educators, and nursing representatives from different countries around the world. My name is Zuhal Yahya. And some leadership-driven solutions that can support future nurses in conflict-affected settings. So I thank you once again, and I hope you find the presentation insightful and meaningful. Okay, the presentation is about navigating education Sudan, challenges, resilience, and emerging solutions in a conflict-affected setting. Okay, of this introduction,
Zuhal just lost her connection and I can see her coming back. Meanwhile, I see a lot of private chatting going on, applauding Mr. Elvis. Please do put those into the comment section that goes into YouTube, LinkedIn, and Facebook. If you do have that connection, I appreciate that. If not, please let me know. I will repost your statements from the private chat. There we go. Zuhal is back. Internet connection is challenging us today, but we will make it through it. Welcome back, Zuhal. You can
okay. I'm so sorry. I'm
Yep. Project your presentation again. Here it is. I see it come through. Don't be sorry. You don't work technology. It just works against us sometimes.
Okay.
Okay, perfect.
So the outlines of this presentation will be overview of nursing education and training pathways, key challenges affecting education and transition to practice, impact of conflict on academic continuity and clinical training, workforce readiness gaps, and transition to practice limitations. And also we have student resilience and adaptive approaches, emerging solutions and the role of student-led initiatives as like SENSA, recommendations for strengthening education and transition systems, and finally, we have called for global collaboration and support. Okay, country representation in Sudan. Okay, about SENSA, the Sudanese Nursing Students Association is a student-led initiative dedicated to uniting and empowering nursing students across Sudan. It aims to build a strong community of future nurse leaders through leadership development, mentorship, education, research opportunities, and professional collaboration. SENSA works to amplify the voices of nursing students, promote excellence in nursing education, and create meaningful local and global impact in healthcare. Okay, here I will speak about, or I will let you know about nursing education in Sudan. Nursing education in Sudan includes both theoretical instruction and clinical training. However, access to consistent and high quality clinical exposure varies significantly across institutions, which affects the overall learning experience of students. Sudan has 34 governmental universities, 20 private universities, and over 87 university colleagues. The Ministry of Higher Education reports over 80 nursing faculties, with a target of 18,000 admissions and an average of 4,500 graduates annually. The key challenge that faced by nursing students is nursing students in Sudan face multiple challenges, including disruptions in education due to conflict, limited access to clinical training, resources constraints, and the absence of structured transition to practice programs. These challenges create significant gap both learning and practical skill development. So we have a significant challenge in our nursing education in Sudan. The impact of conflict, as you know that we faced conflict from 2023, from April 2023. So the ongoing crisis in Sudan has significantly affected nursing education in Sudan. Many students are displaced, institutions have been disrupted, and access to stable learning environments has become increasingly limited. As a result all of this challenge, students must continue their education under highly unstable conditions. Also, we have leadership gap. One of the key underlying challenges is the gap in nursing leadership development. Many students graduate without adequate exposure to leadership training, mentorship, or professional guidance. This gap limits their ability to navigate complex healthcare environments and take on leadership roles. Okay, what about workforce readiness? Due to all of these challenges, there are noticeable gaps in clinical preparedness and confidence among graduates. These challenges directly affect the transition from training to professional practice, making it more difficult for graduates to adapt to real clinical environments. Also, this highlights the urgent need for structured support systems during this transition. Okay, Uh, student resilience. Despite these challenges, nursing students in Sudan demonstrate remarkable resilience and commitment. Many continue learning through informal methods, volunteering, and supporting their communities under difficult circumstances. As a Sudanese nursing student, I have personally witnessed how students continue learning and serving their communities despite extremely challenging conditions. Okay, here we have emerging solutions. Our emerging solutions include strengthening student-led initiatives such as SENSA, promoting peer learning and mentorship, expanding access to online and blended learning, and encouraging community-based engagement. These approaches provide flexible and adaptive strategies to support nursing education in fragile settings as like Sudan. My recommendations is SENSA plays a critical role in building leadership capacity among nursing students. Through initiatives focused only on mentorship, education, and collaboration, SENSA provides a platform for students to develop leadership skills and engage in meaningful professional growth. It represents a step toward strengthening the future of nursing in Sudan. To strengthening nursing education and support the transition to practice in Sudan, there is a need for increased investment in education and training systems, development of structured transition programs, support for student-led initiatives, and stronger global partnerships. Okay, there is urgent call to action. There is critical need for global collaboration to support nursing students in conflict-affected settings as Sudan. Investing in education, strengthening training systems, and creating inclusive opportunities for collaboration are essential to improving the transition from training to practice. Supporting nursing students today is an investment in the future of global healthcare. Okay. Leadership is not only about holding positions, it is about creating impact, supporting others, and adapting during difficult circumstances. Integration leadership into nursing education can create stronger, more confident, and more prepared future nurses. Despite the challenge, Sudanese nursing students continue to demonstrate resilience, commitment, and the desire to grow and contribute meaningfully to healthcare systems. In conclusion, strengthening nursing education alone is not enough about also is not enough without also investing in leadership development and student empowerment, supporting mentorship, research opportunities, collaboration, and leadership initiatives can significantly improve the transition from training to practice for nursing students in Sudan and similar contexts. I would like to sincerely thank the NIC nurses in charge and the team, Dr. Nyempu, all organizers, presenters, and attendees for this incredible opportunity and for your valuable time and attention. Also, extend my appreciation to Sudanese nursing students, nurses, educators, and health professionals who continue to inspire resilience, dedication, and hope despite ongoing challenges. Thank you all very much. I truly appreciate your presence and engagement, and I look forward to your questions and discussion. And happy International Nurses Day.
Wow, bravo, 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 bravo.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Oh, great job, great job. That told us a lot about how much work you have to put into your education, even yet while you are in such a crisis mode, right? Being uprooted and coming back and starting all over again. It takes a person or people, an entire community who feel called to the healing ministry of Christ to truly come through and continue the journey for preparation to make it one day to take care of humans in their future, right? So you're looking for that future opportunity, even yet still while you are in the crisis that you experience in Sudan. Thank you so much for your leadership, Zuhal, and I see some members of your team who are in LinkedIn joining and applauding you. So you have come a long way. Thank you for your contribution to this symposium. We appreciate you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Nyempu, for this meaningful symposium. And thank you again for the opportunity for me to represent my association, Sudanese Nursing Students Association.
Awesome. Ladies and gentlemen, we have waited. We have been holding on. Thank you for your time. Thank you for your patience. And now we have Sharon Birch, who is going to present her project and her initiative that is already impacting lives. Sharon Birch, Master of Science in Nursing, Advanced Practice, RN. She is the founder of New Directions for Nurses, a nurse-led business in the United States, and the home of the Liberated Nurse Business Academy, a registered nurse in advanced practice and trained as a public health nurse. Sharon has worked has worked at the intersection of holistic nursing and entrepreneurship since 1984. Through the Liberated Nurse Business Academy, she shows nurses how to turn their education and expertise into thriving, sustainable businesses within their scope of practice. Her presentation title is Entrepreneur Nursing, an Emerging Nursing Specialty. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Sharon Birch. And by the way, Sharon is our chief advisor for nurses in charge. So she played a dual role, even being on this platform. Thank you so much, Sharon, for your leadership. We appreciate you. Welcome, welcome.
Thank you, Dr. Nyempu. It's an honor to be here and to be part of NIC. I want to thank you for this opportunity, and I also want to thank all my teachers and mentors who have gone before me and shared their wisdom with me. So I'm very excited to share with everyone today. So what is entrepreneurial nursing? Well, it's the application of nursing education, experience, professional judgment to own and operate a business within a nurse's scope of practice and aligned with its ethics. Entrepreneurial nursing is not a departure from nursing practice. It is an expansion of it. And I'm going to trust that you can read the references on these slides. I will not read those to you as I go along. Everything I'm presenting to you today is evidence-based and also based on expert opinion of researchers who are looking into the topics involved with entrepreneurial nursing. And there's beginning to be some literature you can resource for that. At the end of my slides, you'll see the list of all of the references, and that will also be included in the PDF that will be attached to the recording. Okay, so peer-reviewed research has documented nurse entrepreneurs in at least 8 countries, and one study, and I'm sure it's probably double or triple that. It's just that that data hasn't been gathered. One study found that entrepreneurship can strengthen nursing's professional identity and expand its role in healthcare. So nurse entrepreneurship is happening globally. You can see in the green rectangles at the bottom of this slide, it names the 8 countries that were identified in Nearguard's systematic literature review, and others are listed here. And, you know, the International Council of Nurses issued guidelines on nurse entrepreneurship way back in 2004. So that's more than 20 years. And yet we generally don't hear much about nurse entrepreneurship. I also want to point out here that in the United States, for every licensed professional, such as doctors, lawyers, plumbers, even beauticians, it is considered normal to own and operate a business in those professions. But it is not considered normal for nurses. In fact, people think it's strange or perhaps even wrong for nurses to own and operate businesses. So think about this and think about, do you know any licensed profession in your country besides nursing that is expected to only work as an employee? I think this, when we think about nurses being in charge, I encourage us to think about this question of where does nurse entrepreneurship fit and what are the barriers that are holding us back from becoming business owners and leaders. So most nursing and midwifery education offers no content on business development, financial management, or entrepreneurial practice. And this creates an enormous education gap. In an integrative review of the international literature, RNART identified significant educational gaps for nurses in entrepreneurial roles. And both the International Council of Nurses and the American Organization for Nursing Leadership have identified entrepreneurial competencies, but these are rarely known and even more rarely taught. Now, let's acknowledge that business can be very hard to practice successfully, but it's particularly hard without education. And research shows that half of all small businesses fail within the first 5 years. However, this is often due to lack of financial literacy, planning, and marketing understanding. In addition to the education gaps, there are leadership gaps. The evidence shows that nurse entrepreneurship empowers professional identity and expands nurses' roles. Nurses describe empowerment and innovation as outcomes of their entrepreneurial practice. Ethical entrepreneurship requires active participation, not improvisation. And nurses report feeling unprepared for business practice. So all of that has been established in the nursing literature. What does that mean? Well, what is missing in what is creating this gap is that we don't have mentorship from experienced nurse entrepreneurs to help the nurse entrepreneurs that are coming up and growing and developing their practice. We don't have professional identity development built in to our leadership roles for entrepreneurs. And we don't have research-informed learning curriculum that talks about business and gives us good business models for nurses. You know, conventional business is very different from the nursing in its paradigm and its mindset and its actual approach and implementation. I don't know about in your countries, but in the United States, we have a saying that says, "Let the buyer beware." And that is a standard thought in the minds of the public when they interact with business. On the other hand, when they interact with nurses, the public in the United States has been surveyed for 20 years. And every year, the nursing profession is the most trusted profession. So let's contrast that high level of trust that the public has for nursing with the high level of distrust that the public has for business. That is an enormous gap. And leadership from nurses can begin to, I don't want to say fill in the gap, because I don't want nurses to lose our ethics and our identity as being trustworthy. So I don't want nurses to go over to the side of conventional business. The opportunity is for nurses to strengthen their identity, their ethics, their visibility, and their power, and be in charge of business so that when they offer services to the public, it's from the nursing paradigm of transparency, respect, healing, and more. I don't need to go over those, which is very different from conventional business. So I want to make that clear here before I continue my presentation, that I am actively pointing out the gap between conventional business and nursing, and saying nursing has a great opportunity to provide business in its way. Okay. And then the other thing it is missing in terms of leadership is we also need peer communities for nurses who are entrepreneurial to support, connect with each other and support each other, learn from each other. So we know that nurses are owning and operating businesses. So we can look at the outcomes that are emerging. And I'd like to share 4 of those outcomes with examples. So the outcomes are, as we've mentioned, an expansion in the nurse's role, an expansion in nurse empowerment, a support for nurse innovation, and an increase in public health and the public's esteem for nurses. And the examples are listed here. I'm not going to go into each one because I know our time is short. But you can see these are actually all examples of nurse businesses that I know of here in the US. And I would like to invite you to think about what are examples in your country that you're aware of as of nurse-owned and operated businesses. Maybe you put them in the chat. I would love to see those after I'm done presenting. I can look at that. Or if you have an idea of your own for a nurse business, nurse-owned business, I would love to see that in the chat as well. So what are the solutions to closing this gap? Well, the first solution, I believe, is continuing education. And we use that term in the US to mean after a nurse has her license, then she's required to have, she or he is required to have continuing education to develop and deepen the skills and the insight that nurse has for practice. So continuing education is an accessible vehicle for closing the educational gap for entrepreneurial nurses. And that can involve, there's many opportunities to work with this. Developing business curriculum, engaging in business research, providing mentorship, and creating and attending conferences and peer learning experiences. So one example of continuing education filling the gap is my company, the Liberated Nurse Business Academy. Our mission is to help nurses turn their education, experience, and insights into thriving, sustainable businesses within their scope. And our philosophy is that, like nursing, business can be a healing art and science. Nurses who build ethical, sustainable businesses extend healing presence of nursing into the world. Here is our working model this is our business compass. The compass represents the continuous, iterative, and cyclical nature of holistic nurse-led businesses. The compass is grounded in nursing's values, using the 4 directions to guide and support us. This model is oriented for the Northern Hemisphere. So nurses that are watching this who live south of the equator would think of it as their compass. If your compass, I haven't really been south of the equator, so I can't tell you from my experience, but I believe this is true, that your compass points south, whereas for those of us in the Northern Hemisphere, it points north. So you would orient this compass then to presence, vision, and creativity. Here would be your south. It would be it's your guiding pole of starting point, the reference point to start with. Okay. If you have questions about that, please put them in the chat and I'll answer them later. So this pole orientation is the starting point. It represents who I am, what I carry. I'm speaking as a nurse looking at this, and what I see, what I want to express. That is the starting point for being an entrepreneur. And then a business forms within our personal identity, our values, and our calling, or our felt sense of purpose. Traveling from the pole around to the place of the rising sun, this energy is the ethical, relational container that makes the rest of the business development journey possible without violation or fragmentation. Continuing around then to the south, this is the direction of the developmental map. This gives the grounding structure. And just like humans, businesses also have developmental stages and developmental milestones. So that structure is a big part of the business compass, to learn that and to be guided by it. Because without it, attention and our attention and our movement, our business activity can be scattered. Continuing on around in a clockwise fashion to the next direction, that is the evidence-informed approach. And the energy of this direction is about refinement based on learning from what actually happens. It's the combination of objective evidence plus lived experience plus nursing wisdom or judgment. And that combination brings about better outcomes for people. And then in the center, liberation is at the heart of this compass, where nurses nourish others and are themselves nourished too. The more fully a nurse embodies their liberation, the more capacity they bring to their business and to the people that they serve. So the Liberated Nurse Business Incubator Compass orients nurses to nourish a high level of well-being in themselves and the public. It is rooted in presence, guided by ethics, structured for healthy growth and development, and evaluated and refined by evidence. So that was about continuing education opportunities and as a solution. The second solution I want to mention is graduate education, specifically at the master's and doctoral prepared levels. So at the master's level, we can look at business foundations. How do those fit within our scope of practice? What are nurse entrepreneur owned practices and what do they need for their development? We can look at entrepreneurship policies and systems, leadership, ethical business decision-making, and there can be practicums for the master's students with nurse entrepreneur mentors. And I mention that one because I'm a practicum at a university in the United States, and this is all done by remote. I don't do this in person. And so I encourage other nurse entrepreneurs maybe listening to this presentation to think about how could you be a nurse entrepreneur mentor for master's level students, as well as those, of course, who are just looking for continuing education. And you can work the opportunity, and the suggestion I have for you is to contact universities who might have an interest in adding this and offer to be a nurse mentor for the entrepreneurs. Okay, and then at the doctoral level, we need research on nurse entrepreneurship outcomes and processes. We need framework development and testing. Health systems need innovation through entrepreneurial models. We need that to be explored. And for the capstone projects, nurse-led businesses or social enterprises would make wonderful contributions as capstone projects as well. So in summary, there are unlimited opportunities for nurse entrepreneurial collaboration and growth. The education and leadership gaps are shared by all of us, and the evidence base and the solutions really need to be collaborative. We need investment in research on nurse entrepreneurship models, processes, and outcomes. We need to learn what works, who it works for, and under what conditions. We need to integrate entrepreneurial nursing learning content into continuing nursing education and graduate programs, and invite collaboration between schools. We need to build mentorship structures that connect experienced nurse entrepreneurs with those who are earlier in their development. And we need to create learning communities that share evidence, frameworks, and support. Here are the references for this presentation. And as I said before, you'll receive these in the PDF that is shared with you. And this is my final slide. This is my call to action for nurses. Because nurse-led businesses are not a micro niche or, let's say, a unicorn or something rare. They are a worldwide opportunity for nurses who want to be in charge. And don't hold back. I want to say don't hold back till you feel like you're ready, because there's always more to learn. Just start learning, start asking for support, looking for support, and taking small steps. Small steps are how to climb a mountain or cross a wide plain or desert. We don't do it all in one leap. So the main thing is to start and continue. And so if you are interested in starting a nurse-led business, or you want to grow one you've already started, I invite you to visit liberatednurse.com and use the free assessment tool at the top of the homepage to help you identify where you are in your thinking or in your doing, and I identify then what's your next step, what's your next small step that will be meaningful to move you forward. Thank you very much. I appreciate your attention, and I appreciate this opportunity from Nurses in Charge.
Bravo, bravo. Again, we have such an amazing presentation from Sharon. Sharon, thank you so much for taking time to work on this initiative. And you are one of the leading professionals in this area of nursing innovation. And you have definitely set out this legacy. And who do we define as nurses in charge? You are in charge. Dr. Ibochi is in charge, right? And then we see Mr. Elvis, Yensha, the new nurses are coming on board. They are following the trailblazers. So we say thank you, Sharon, because when we want to leave the bedside, we need to go somewhere else. And this is a brand new horizon for so many nurses, and I am one of those. Dr. Ibochi is one of those, and we have seen the benefit of being nurse entrepreneurs. So for those of you who are in YouTube, Facebook, or LinkedIn, please do put in your comments. Sharon has gracefully shared her PDF files for a file for us to share with everyone who registered for this event. But if you are not registered for the event, by the link whether we send via email or someone share with you, put your email in the chat, and we will definitely capture that and furnish you with copies of all of the presentations today. That is a lot. That's a wealth of knowledge for you to walk away with from today's symposium, and that is the essence of our shared research database that we have gathered here. So thank you, everyone. Thank you, Sharon. I know you have to leave, and you will be following up with us to make sure that we're behaving out here. Thank you so much. Awesome. Who is next? Who wants to go next? I do have some presentation that I can project if you do not have your presentation for the remainder of our presenters, Yensha, Sandra, and Angie.
Okay.
I have
Okay.
Yensha's
Good.
presentation. But Sandra, do you want to go now?
Yes, ma.
Okay, no problem. Let me project yours. Are you able to project it first of all before I go into it?
Okay, ma.
You want me to project your presentation?
Yes, ma.
Okay, perfect. I apologize for the early inconvenience we experienced. Now we are just rolling through, and things we're able now to project, which is a beautiful thing. To have a beautiful experience. So here, and this is for Sandra. Thank you for participating in this event.
Thank you, ma.
I just need a thumbs up to you when you can see Sandra's presentation. And it's
Yes,
coming
ma.
through. I see her mentor, Mr. Elvis, is nodding. He said, "Yes, we got it. We made it. Here we are. Perfect. Awesome.
Okay. Good day,
All right.
ma.
Before you, sorry, Sandra. Let me introduce you
Okay.
like I did with our previous presenter.
Okay, ma.
Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for there we go. All right, Sandra Reniu Wenga. I hope I did not butcher your name too much. Sandra is a final year nursing student completing her higher national diploma at diploma education at the University of Bemenda. She is passionate about patient care and aspires to become an orthopedic nurse to help people with fractures, injuries, and mobility problems to walk, heal, and live better. She believes every patient deserves respect, hope, and skilled care. Her presentation title is the prevalence of the prevalence and factors influencing treatment default among tuberculosis patients at the Regional Hospital of Bemenda. Ladies and gentlemen, please give your undivided attention to Sandra as she presents her project.
I am Renusanda Kwanga.
Sandra is having technical issues there. I can see her connection just scrolling around. Let's give her a moment to get back with us. Meanwhile, oh, okay, perfect. I see your email here. Izoma, I see your email in the chat. I would definitely take note of that. For those in YouTube, WhatsApp, and Facebook, please let us know, how is this program going for you? Are you learning something new? Welcome back, Sandra.
I'm sorry for the inconveniences.
No problem. Welcome back. We appreciate you.
So I'm delighted.
Sandra, I believe what usually helps us with internet access is turn off your video.
Continue.
Yeah, turn off your video and speak. You will get better better connectivity. Perfect. You can just speak by audio. Are you back with us, Sandra?
This network. Please let me know if you can get me now.
Yes. Yes.
Okay. I was saying that the plan of my presentation is the background of studies, where I'm going to be introducing tuberculosis, and the next plan is the problem statement, research questions and objectives, with the results, conclusion, and some recommendations. Tuberculosis is an caused by Mycobacterium tuberculosis, which mainly affects the lungs. Tuberculosis is a major health problem in our society because it's a communicable disease and can be spread from one person to another through physical contact with infected persons. The standard duration for drug-susceptible tuberculosis is 6 months. That is for patients who go smoothly, who have susceptibility of drugs, tuberculosis drugs, they have a standard duration of 6 months, and those who are not susceptible to tuberculosis drugs have a different duration, which is more time consuming. For the a default in this treatment, in tuberculosis treatment, can lead to poor outcomes and continuous spread of the disease in our communities, and also drug-resistant tuberculosis. Despite the availability of effective drugs, we health personnel still find out that some patients do not go into completion with their tuberculosis medications. Therefore, This study seeks to determine the prevalence and the factors influencing treatment default amongst tuberculosis patients at the regional hospital Bamenda. After identifying this problem, we came up with some questions. That is, what are the prevalence and factors influencing treatment default amongst tuberculosis patients at the regional hospital Bamenda? This study specifically seeks to determine the factors influencing treatment default amongst tuberculosis patients at the regional hospital Bamenda, and also the prevalence, and also to determine the prevalence of treatment default amongst tuberculosis patients at the regional hospital Bamenda. In order to achieve these objectives, an exploratory descriptive hospital-based cross-sectional study was carried out at the regional hospital Bamenda, where a sample size of 50 participants were selected conveniently. Data was collected using structured questionnaires and analyzed using descriptive statistics. The findings of these studies revealed that the prevalence of treatment default was not high, but then the prevalence of treatment default had a 60% success rate and 40% default. These people who defaulted had some particular reasons why they defaulted. Some of these reasons for default were because some patients felt better after taking drugs for a period of time, maybe 2 months, and some had adverse drug reaction, while others thought the treatment durations were too long. Others had little or no education on tuberculosis and treatment default outcomes. So, furthermore, in as much as we had a 60% success rate in Cameroon at the regional hospital Bamenda, this still fell short of the 90% criterion set by WHO in order to end tuberculosis. This WHO criterion stated that if globally we are able to have 90% of treatment success, like for example, out of 10 tuberculosis patients, we have 9 who have successful treatment. Therefore, we look forward to end tuberculosis in the nearest future. But looking at our results from the regional hospital Bamenda, we found out that just 60% were able to have successful treatment. And it means we still have a long way to go, because in order for us to reach the 90%, we need 30 more success rate in order to attain the 90% WHO criterion to end tuberculosis. For this reason, I call on the population to take, if you're being diagnosed from tuberculosis, please take your treatment personal and have strict adherence to your treatment. Because if you don't have strict adherence to your treatment, you are going to continuously endanger yourself and endangering the community at large by spreading the tuberculosis infection around the community. And also, a default in this treatment, like I said, will lead to drug resistance tuberculosis. When you have the first line of treatment for tuberculosis and you default and you stop treatment for more than 2 months, therefore, when you're coming back, the bacteria in your body must have multiplied and become more stronger. That way, you are unable to be susceptible to the first line of treatment. So you are then moved to the second line of treatment for tuberculosis, which is more costly and more time consuming to manage. In order to tackle this problem, we call on the nurses around the world, especially in Bamenda, to educate patients when they come in suffering from tuberculosis, that a side effect in a drug can be managed, and that a side effect should not stop the patient from taking their medications. They should rather come back to the hospital in order for them to be to be educated on what to do about the side effects, because some patients defaulted due to these adverse side reactions of drugs, which were some complaint of having red pee, red urination, nausea, fatigue, and rashes on their skin after taking some particular medications. So we call on some patients also, they also complain of having gastric after taking tuberculosis medications. So we call on the nurses around the world to attach maybe protein pump inhibitors like omeprazole to be given to those tuberculosis patients who complain of maybe ulcer, and educate the patient on the importance of eating while taking your medication, or eating before taking your medications. The after seeing all these results, it was concluded that tuberculosis is curable and can be curable only with strict adherence of a 6 months treatment regimen. This 6 months treatment regimen can be implemented all around, because imagine a patient who defaults treatment because of long treatment durations and maybe comes back with drug-resistant tuberculosis, which is more costly and more time-consuming. Imagine you defaulting because of 6 months, because you think 6 months is too long, and you come and you're added maybe to 9 months. That can lead to the risk of maybe multi-drug resistant tuberculosis and can lead to death if neglected. So conclusively, we can work together, patients, carers, and nurses or health personnel around can work together with the tuberculosis patients to encourage them to take medications and to be strict on their medications. And also we can work together to move towards the 90% criterion for tuberculosis, to end tuberculosis by WHO. This way we are able to end tuberculosis in the future, and together we stand against tuberculosis in the world and in Bamenda. The recommendations after seeing all these situations were that tuberculosis treatment regimen could be shortened from 6 months to maybe 4 months. And also the government can provide health vouchers for tuberculosis patients living in the hospital premises, because some of them find difficulties to find financial difficulties while being in the hospital and abandoning their jobs. Also, the other recommendation was that community health workers could actually move to the communities where tuberculosis is rampant and do home delivery for drugs, for tuberculosis drugs, for patients who feel stigmatized, and also patients who have cost of transportation as an issue to them. I have come to the end of my presentation. Thank you.
Bravo, bravo. I see Yensha clapping over there. I see everyone nodding. That was a superb presentation. Thank you, Sandra, for your presentation. Indeed, tuberculosis is one area of a critical attention to be in this area, because in the developing countries, treatments don't come so easily. So getting resistant to treatment is not something we want. And her call to action for nurses globally is to make sure that we are vigilant, we are educating our patients, and truly making sure that we don't lose those patients that come into our field. Thank you so much, Sandra, for your presentation. Indeed, for those who are registered for this event, will be getting a copy of your presentation. And with that said, we say thank you for working against the odds of technology and still coming through and doing your presentation. NIC appreciate you. Happy Nurses Week. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Awesome, awesome. Alrighty, who wants to go next?
I'm ready to present.
Okay, I can go next.
Wait, let me see. Awesome. Is it Yensha or Ingji that wants to go next? I heard Yensha, but then I heard a soft voice in the background there.
I think Jay wants to go next.
Okay. NJ, welcome, welcome. Let me pull up your presentation and give her. Let's see here you are. Perfect.
Yes, Dr. Nyempu. Yes, you can.
Yes, NJ. And then Yensha will be our final presenter. Alrighty, who is this amazing nursing student who has taken the leap of faith to be here today? Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you all about her. All right, so Angie hosting at ISO. Angie is a nursing student currently pursuing a higher national diploma at the University of the Bamenda, Cameroon. She is passionate about caring for patients, diligently helping them to get better and sees nursing beyond the bedside. She aspires to be a nurse anesthetist and a mentor for other nursing students. Bravo. Her presentation is titled Perceptions of Hypertensive Patients Regarding Peer Support Groups. Groups formation at Queen District Hospital, Bamenda. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you Ms. Icho, and she is ready to give her presentation on this topic that we know it is a global crisis, hypertension.
Once more, good day, everyone. I am very delighted. I'm so happy to be among distinguished nurses and distinguished panelists like you. I'm very happy to present my research report titled Perceptions of Hypertensive Patients Regarding Peer Support Groups Formation at Queen District Hospital, Bamenda. I hope everyone is getting me.
Yes, we can.
Thank you. The plan of my presentation is as follows. We'll have the background of study, we'll have problem statement, we'll have research questions and objectives, we'll have methodology, results, conclusion, and recommendations. Hypertension is a disease of the circulatory system characterized by an increase in blood pressure, usually with a value of 140 or 90 millimeters of mercury. Hypertension is one of the leading cause of mortality in the world amongst non-communicable diseases, and there is an increase in its prevalence in the northwest region of Cameroon. Peer support groups serve as a resource for social support, embodying social interactions, relationships, and exchanges among people who have the same disease condition. Despite the advantages of peer support groups, the knowledge of the perceptions of hypertensive patients at the regarding peer support groups formation at Queen District Hospital is unknown. Therefore, this study sought to determine the perceptions of hypertensive patients regarding peer support groups formation at Queen District Hospital. Specifically, this study sought to determine the proportion of patients who are interested in joining the peer support group at Queen District Hospital, to assess level of patients' knowledge regarding the benefits of peer support groups at Queen District Hospital, to identify the preferred meeting formats of hypertensive patients at Queen District Hospital, to determine reasons for joining or not joining peer support groups at Queen District Hospital. In order to attain these objectives, an exploratory cross-sectional study was carried out at Queen District Hospital, where 41 adult hypertensive patients were selected using the convenience sampling technique, and data was collected from them using structured questionnaires. This data was then analyzed using descriptive statistics, and the following results were obtained. The majority of hypertensive patients at the Queen District Hospital reported a high interest in joining the peer support group if it were to be created at the Queen District Hospital. This reflects an unmet need. This reflects how patients have unmet needs. Like, they don't only come to the hospital to get drugs. They also want to interact with others. They also want to associate with others. They also want to feel that sense of belonging in the society.
Hello everyone.
Reasons
I am from Sudan, third student at
reasons for
University.
joining.
At Sudan.
I don't know. There's a sound coming from the presentation.
Sorry for that. We've taken care of that. Thank you.
Thank you, Doctor. Reasons for joining were mostly informational and psychosocial. Patients wanted to join to get information, or to share their experiences with other hypertensive patients, to get more knowledge on them, how to better manage their conditions, things they ought to do, things they ought not to do, and to also get that sense of belonging. As the saying goes, experience is the best teacher. So they prefer most at times to learn from people they think can understand them, because they have the same condition, the same disease or condition as them, instead of learning from nurses or medical practitioners who maybe they think just have knowledge about it, but then they don't have the condition to actually know how they feel about it. Reasons for not joining the peer support group were centered on feasibility and emotional burden. In our context, at Queen District, around Queen District Hospital, most of the patients there are farmers, and so this yields little or no income for them to maybe get to pay transport to come to the hospital to attend peer support group session. So they reported it as a limitation for them not being able to join a peer support group if it were to be created. And for emotional burden, many patients will think, if I come there, I share my story, somebody might see me, it might seem weird to some people. So they prefer to keep their experiences to themselves. or manage the disease by themselves. The knowledge of the benefit, there was a high knowledge on the benefits of peer support groups among the hypertensive patients at Queen District Hospital. This is, I think this was because although there was no existing peer support group at Queen District Hospital, when they read through the questionnaire, they were able to understand, because the questionnaire was made in simple English. They were able to understand why it is important for them to join a peer support group if it were to be created. And most patients reported that they would prefer physical meetings at the clinic. This is because they get to interact physically with others. And considering that our study population was made of adult hypertensive patients, most of them they don't know how to really manipulate their Android phones to be able to attend online meetings. They're just concerned when it comes to their phone. They're just concerned to answer calls, to take calls, to make calls, and that is it. And most of them don't even have the finances to be able to get internet connection. With the above findings, it can be concluded that there is need for a peer support group to be created for hypertensive patients at Queen District Hospital, Bamenda. It is recommended that the hospital should create both physical meetings at the clinic and online meetings, because this will address problems like people who don't have time to attend meetings. They will also have the chance to participate in online meetings and not miss out entirely on the benefits of peer support groups and Pendishu Hospital. So if you cannot come to the clinic to attend physical meetings, you have another chance to attend online meetings, so you don't miss out completely. The hospital can provide transportation means for patients. Providing transportation means will help is providing a solution to patients who reported that they had transportation issues, like money issues getting to the hospital. The hospital should engage in sensitization campaigns. This will help to enlighten others who don't know the benefit of belonging to a peer support group. They have no idea about peer support groups. So it will help to enlighten others and make them know that hypertension is not a terminal disease. It is a disease that, when well managed, you can live with it for as long as you live. Thank you, nurses, for your attention. Thank you for giving me this opportunity to share my research report with you. I am happy. I am delighted. Happy Nurses Week to everybody. Thank you.
Excellent work. Excellent work. Oh my goodness, that presentation really touched my heart, because hypertension is a silent killer. And in parts of Africa, especially in our developing nations, people often drop from hypertensive crisis, meaning they will pass out and truly get into emergent conditions because of hypertension. And sometimes we make reasons by witchcraft. There was a witchcraft whereby it was hypertension. And the peer support group, I just love the ideology around that, and the response from your group members that experience is the best teacher. I just love that as well. because it makes sense when you speak with someone who has gone through a situation or condition and has survived it. You lean in closer and you just want to know more. How did you do it? Because I'm struggling. So continue your project. NIC is here to support you. All of our presenters here today. This is why we brought you here, not to just throw you in the World Wide Web and leave you there, but NIC is here to help you anchor your projects, and hopefully by the grace of God, we can get sponsors through these venues so that people can truly say, oh, I want that project. I want to own that project and work with the University of Bamenda. I want to work with the regional hospital of Bamenda so that these projects can not only be presented but implemented as well. So thank you so much for your presentation. That was amazing. Please pronounce your beautiful again because I am butchering it. It's beautiful. It's the NG.
Sorry, I did not get you
So
clearly.
proud. Keep going.
Oh no, I was just asking. I said, please pronounce your beautiful name for me because I know I've said it a couple of times and I'm not quite confident that I said it right.
It's J Holston Issue.
Icho. Thank you, NG. Thank you so much. Appreciate you very much. You see, Yensha, he's flexing. He's ready to do his presentation. He said, I am ready. Just put me on stage. Ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you who this young gentleman is. He is none other than our chairman for the chapter of NIC in Cameroon. He has held this position for about 3 years now, and he is faithful to duty. He has pulled so many amazing leaders to NIC over the years, and Yensha, you are a phenomenal leader. And even though you are still in nursing school, you have truly touched the globe. And we are honored to have you here today. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, Yensha Stanley Bunkem is a passionate nursing student and emerging leader at the University of Bamenda, Cameroon, with a strong commitment to nursing excellence, research, and healthcare innovation. He is dedicated to advancing inclusive leadership, mentorship, and professional development, promoting quality healthcare, and empowering young nurses through education and community engagement. His presentation titles Beyond Graduation, Building Confidence, Emotional. I just did you a disservice. That is not his presentation title. His presentation title, as you see here, I believe because we had made some changes at some place, I kept that presentation title. But here we are, Yensha presentation title is Factors Influencing Nursing Documentation, Practices at Bamenda Regional Hospital. Thank you so much, Yensha. Without further ado, please take the stage.
Thank you so much, Dr. Nyempu. Gratitude to all the panelists who have done an awesome job in their presentation. And I must say, I am so honored to be part of this symposium as a presenter. To everyone watching from any part of the world, I feel honored to be sharing with you my research work that I conducted in partial fulfillment for the acquisition of a higher national diploma from the University of Bamenda. So my research work was focused on factors influencing nursing documentation practices at the Bamenda Regional Hospital. You know, it is quite funny that in the 21st century and in the digital world that we are in, we are still talking about nursing documentation crisis, especially in the northwest region of Cameroon. And this documentation crisis is not something that is just based on what we have as limitations in recording. It actually captures the reality of patient care, telling you that there is something going on that is not right as far as patient care is concerned. So that is what gave me the inspiration to look at the various factors affecting nursing documentation practices at the Bamenda Regional Hospital, which is a referral hub and a university teaching hospital. So nursing documentation is the formal records of care plans and given to a patient, and it's a central part of the nursing process. That is to say that nursing documentation is part of what nursing is. Without documentation, there is no nursing. It promotes patient safety, continuity of care, and professional accountability. However, poor documentation remains a global challenge due to workload, understaffing, and lack of clear guidelines. At the Bamenda Regional Hospital, nurses work under high patient load and staffing challenges, which affect proper nursing documentation. Despite the availability of trained nurses at the Bamenda Regional Hospital, nursing documentation still remains inadequate due to excessive workload, inadequate staffing, and limited supervision. This tends to compromise care and exposes nurses to legal and professional risks. This study, therefore, sought to assess the factors influencing nursing documentation at the Bamenda Regional Hospital. The objective that guided this study were as follows: to assess current documentation practices, examine nurses' attitude towards nursing documentation, and to assess the factors that affect nursing documentation practices at the Bamenda Regional Hospital. The question that this study sought to answer were what are the existing nursing documentation practices? What are the attitudes? I don't know if someone can get me, please. It seems like okay. So as follows: what are the existing nursing documentation practices at the Bamenda Regional Hospital? What are the attitudes of nurses towards nursing documentation, and what are the factors affecting nursing documentation at the Bamenda Regional Hospital? To achieve the objectives of this research work, a descriptive cross-sectional study design was adopted using a convenience sampling technique. 119 nurses were recruited to take part in this study. A structured questionnaire was used to collect information as far as this study was concerned. Data was analyzed using descriptive statistics. The findings of this study were as far as nursing documentation at the Bamenda Regional Hospital is concerned, the problem is not actually the lack of knowledge from the nurses, but it is a systemic problem where there is poor supervision based from the reports of nurses. Around 90% of nurses reported that there is weak supervision. This tends to cause nurses not to feel like they need to document, because they tend to see documentation as something that is just a burden that cannot actually be traced. And so some actually reported that attitude towards documentation wasn't a problem. The problem was heavy workload, absence of a clear documentation guidelines. Therefore, at the Bamenda Regional Hospital, guidelines are not actually defined. So each department, they have their own way of documenting. Most of the times they use data action response, like what the patient tells you, you act on what the patient tells you, and you get feedback from the patient, and that's how you document you. So you do not bring a comprehensive nature of the assessment, the planning, the intervention, and the evaluation to capture all that you actually did for this patient. And this tends to affect quality patient care and continuity in care, both in collaboration with other medical team. And at the Bamenda Regional Hospital, my observation based on this study was that nurses tend to feel they tend to have the efficiency to document, but still lack the support from the administration as to how they need to carry out this documentation, because there is no clear guideline. And another aspect, looking at the institutional factors, is that the worksheets for documenting patient care, sometimes nurses do not actually know how to stress, like to trace patient care and document progress of care. So all of these things tends to affect quality patient care, and workload is equally another factor that creates a challenge for proper nursing documentation. Because at the Bamenda Regional Hospital, you tend to see that there is an increase in patient ratio compared to the nursing workforce, which tend to put a constraint on nurses as far as documenting care efficiently is concerned. So the conclusion of this research work was, therefore, the conclusion of this study was that nursing documentation at the Bamenda Regional Hospital is, however, better organizational support is needed to ensure accurate and timely documentation. Improving documentation strengthens patient safety, nursing accountability, quality care. Therefore, nursing documentation at the Bamenda Regional Hospital is not the improper documentation is not due to lack of knowledge. It's due to a systemic failure where there is poor supervision. There is lack of a clear, standardized guideline on how nurses are supposed to document. Therefore, the recommendations that I propose to be used by the administration and nurses at the Bamenda Regional Hospital to be able to document properly is to develop clear unit-specific guidelines. The guidelines that are the documentation guidelines that are supposed to be used at the ICU, they should be kind of different based on their own patient, the condition, and the ones to be used at the maternity and the medical unit, they are supposed to be different. Strengthen supervision and monitoring. The administration needs to incorporate regular monitoring of nursing documentation to see if nursing documentation is actually being practiced. They need to improve nurse to patient ratios. There's a current shortage in skilled nurses. So the hospital administration needs to recruit more nurses to meet up with the patient demand, and to have the necessary time to be able to document. Provide regular training on documentation. Things are changing, and so is nursing documentation. The way documentation was usually done in the 90s is not the same way documentation is done at this point in time. So there is a need for continuous professional development as far as nursing documentation is concerned. It could be through workshops or maybe organizing unit-based trainings, and then encourage feedback and recognition system. When you recognize nurses for doing a good job, they tend to do more of those good things, and this actually strengthens the way nursing documentation is going to be done. So there is a need for the hospital to design a system where they recognize nurses for what they do. In doing this, they are going to encourage nurses to do more of good documentation. They're going to encourage nurses to do good documentation. So my call to action is, every note matters. Documentation is more than paperwork. It is a voice for the patient, a record of care, a professional responsibility, a protection for nurses. As nurses and future leaders, let us document with purpose. What is not documented is considered not done. So I have come to the end of my presentation, and I want to use this opportunity to thank Nurses in Charge for giving me the opportunity to share my research work. And I believe that this is going to call for more collaboration from people like you, Dr. Nyempu, from a setting with a standardized form of documentation to share with us. What is your own experience as far as documentation is concerned? What can we borrow from the US system to incorporate in our system so that we can better improve nursing documentation? Because without documentation, there is no nursing practice.
What was not documented was never done. My goodness, the language is global. The language has transcended generations of nursing professionals prepared into the work of healthcare. So Yensha Stanley Bunkem, thank you so much for reminding us that we can do all the works for the patients. If we don't document it, we're not giving the voice of the patient. We're not giving a strong data to support the care we provided, and even the outcome of that care will be skewed to an improper means. So thank you so much for this presentation. Thank you for your excellent work. You have definitely done a remarkable job presenting this work at your graduate research project presentation that you just did early this month. I believe it was early this month or end of April. So thank you for sharing your vision with us. And definitely, this is where we should be spearheading beyond the symposium. After we've presented our cases to the entire world, we need to do more beyond here. So nurses, midwives globally, I say, happy International Nurses Week, happy International Midwives Week. And today, as we can see, on behalf of the Nurses in Charge Global, I would like to sincerely thank you all of our presenters, all of our participants who have done remarkable job in pouring in data for us to make this event possible. And the attendees who have stuck with us, who've been there when internet was not properly working, and they have been there into YouTube, Facebook, and LinkedIn. But most of all, most importantly, thank God Almighty for making everything possible, for giving us life to live, to come on this platform, because without life, there is no presentation, right? And God has definitely been bringing NIC through these 5 years, bringing all these amazing leaders together. Today, we have heard from powerful voices from the nations, the voices of leaders, resilience, innovation, mentorship projects, and hope for future nursing and midwifery worldwide for us to do more, for us to showcase more of our works. Because beyond the bedside, beyond our offices, the day-to-day mundane tasks go by without anyone truly knowing where our strengths, what studies we've done. How can the studies we've done in Cameroon be replicated in Sudan, in India, in parts of Europe, if we don't showcase it, if we don't have a unified platform to share our work and find joy in doing so? Our discussions have reminded us today that the journey from training to practice is not simply a professional transition. If you agree with that statement, put your agreement in the comments. In fact, it is a lifelong commitment to service, growth, and advancing healthcare for humanity. May the knowledge shared here today continue to inspire collaboration, research, leadership, and transformation within our profession and across the global communities. I want to thank you all. I want to truly thank you all from the bottom of my heart for believing in this vision that innovative practices and research endeavors speaks beyond our generation, because people will come later on when we're no longer here, when we're no longer active on this platform to read our word, to listen to it, and draw knowledge and inspiration for their journey as well. So we say thank you, thank you, thank you, from Nurses in Charge Global to everyone out there who have taken time to be here. Thank you, Dr. Ibochi. Thank you, Zuhal. Thank you, Sharon. Thank you, Mr. Elvis. Thank you, Ms. Icho. Thank you so much, Sandra. I'm calling the names and seeing who is still with us. Oh, a lot of people have gone into have gone backstage for whatever reason that the internet is fidgeting again. Thank you, Yensha. I hope I did not miss anybody. Thank you, Nyempu. It has been a remarkable journey, and we have just opened the entire platform for others to join us for next year's symposium. I believe by the grace of God, it is going to be phenomenal. It's going to be a grandeur one. Imagine just 8 members of this community brought so much work into this arena. Imagine what would be next year. What much inspiration we're throwing out there for others to join us. So please let us not stop here. Let us start the entire process again as to what else we want to do with these projects and what other projects we want to bring on board. And we do call for support from WHO, from the Congress and nations that truly want better healthcare outcomes to join our mission here and make it bigger. We need your support, both your financial support, your recognition, and drawing us into conversation beyond this platform. Nurses in Charge Global says thank you. You can reach us at nursesincharge.org, or you can email us at thenursesincharge@gmail.com. Again, we say thank you for all of our registrants, our viewers, audiences, people who just came because they saw the promotion somewhere. We say thank you. You all have a very wonderful rest of your week. And it has been a long day. It's 12:30 p.m. my time. And I believe it is 6 hours ahead in Cameroon. It is 5 hours somewhere else around the world, 12 hours somewhere else. And I just truly appreciate you all. Thank you, and thank you, and thank you. Bye, everyone. You have a lovely day. We'll meet beyond here. Thank you. Bye.